It's John Halpin here with Ryan Fowler. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Pickwatch Live. We're getting ready for week 9. And, you know, I'm licking my wounds over the Bills-Pats game from last night. Ryan is pretty happy with the way it shook out, aren't you, Ryan?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I conceded defeat after the touchdown was reversed. So I thought, okay, they might not have got the touchdown, but they're going to kick the field goal. Patriots aren't going to be able to cover the 14. But then Derek Anderson coming through for it was a bad day for Cleveland, and it was a bad day for a former Cleveland quarterback, as that offense of the Bills, woof. That's going to be a long haul the rest of the way, because the pick six by Anderson to help out Patriots backers was huge, and it just seemed like they wanted to do everything in their power not to make Derek Anderson have to throw the ball, especially on those first few drives.
Well, yeah, it's funny. They wound up with they got a touchdown called back.
Yeah,
and so that would have made it 18-12 or 18-13. Not long after that is when he threw the pick six, because I had Bills plus 14, and I'm like, come on, really?
Right. I mean, worst possible scenario.
Yeah. So talk to me more. You said bad day for the Browns. Since you're a Browns fan, I want to hear your just general assessment of this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just one of those things where what direction is this franchise moving? Is it moving forward? Is it in neutral? Why do you give Hugh Jackson this many games into the season to know what you knew what you were going in? You get a tie here, you push a few games to overtime here, and not only do you fire Hugh Jackson, but you fire Todd Haley, which makes me think that Haslam was sending a message that the conflict between Hugh and Todd was so toxic that was bringing the whole locker room down. And that's funny to say, considering Greg Williams is now their interim coach. But I think it was Haslam sending a message. Hughes and Haley's egos got in the way, and that's why they were both out. I think Hugh is performance-based. He had 3 wins in 3 seasons, or 2, whatever. Todd's was, I'm better than everybody else. I think I am the answer to all your problems. And Hugh and him were just so conflicted on a regular basis that Haslam's like, you're out, because I'm not going – basically Haslam was like, I'm not going to name you interim head coach probably. I'm going to name Greg or somebody else if Greg doesn't want it. And Todd was like, I'm out. And that's I mean, anybody who watched Hard Knocks and knows his history, Haley's history with the Steelers, knows that this wasn't going to end well, just based on the vibe and the atmosphere during Hard Knocks. Anybody that watched that, it just wasn't going to work. So now you're in neutral, because you're not really going to move forward with Baker and that offense in the state it is. You're going to try and win games with your defense.
All right. Lincoln Riley, you ready? You're going to go down to Norman and hold up signs?
Am I ready? 1999, I don't remember ever really being overly excited. I know they made the wild card that one year, but man, it's pushing 20 years, John, on Browns 2.0, and I feel after this, and as I mentioned to you, and we'll talk about when we preview the game, Baker, he was limping. I mean, his offensive line, this is where Joe Thomas's early retirement is really starting to hurt Baker Mayfield, because that offensive line is doing him no favors. And I know it's the Steelers pass rush and everything, but it really does seem like Baker is running for his life. And with Antonio Callaway and Jarvis Landry, a possession receiver, running 6-yard outs, they're not pushing the ball down the field. And Chubb will have his moments, but they need some type of vertical threat, to use a cliche, and it's not going to come this season.
All right. Do you like my my Baywatch sunlight going on here?
Oh, it's beautiful. You know what? Barbara Walters, to use a dated reference, loves that lighting. Nice and soft. Nice and soft on the. Oh, it's beautiful.
I'm guessing over the course of the show it will go away, because I've got sun coming in the front window of my office, in front of the house, front window, you know, bouncing off a window. It's a whole big, anyway.
And you have the Baywatch, like, orange, the checkered shirt on, too. So you're definitely very tropical down there in beautiful Charlotte, North Carolina.
It's my Halloween colors.
Oh, there you go. Your Cleveland Browns Halloween.
Yes, there you go. All right. So we talked about Pat's Bills. Let's see. Yeah, that spread. So that dropped me. That raised you to 8-6 against the spread, and it dropped me to 8-6 against the spread. I was looking at a 9-5 week, and I was pretty happy.
Yeah.
Because I actually got called out on Twitter on Sunday, but not badly. Scott Pianowski from Yahoo, who I know, because I complained when Todd Gurley sat down because I had the Rams.
Right.
And he's like,
So did I.
basically joking, you know, well, I mean, the Packers were the right side of this all day. Someone else said the bad beat would have been the Packers losing that one, as opposed to the Rams. I said, I agree, but I had the Rams, so I don't care about everybody.
Right, exactly. And I think that's how most bettors feel.
Yeah. So anyway, I was 8-6 of the week. So were you against the spread? You are 62-53 on the season against the spread. I am only 59-58. On the straight ups, you were 11-3. I was 12-2. So right now, where we are, we've been talking about Ben Vaughn of the Boston Globe. He had a rough week. He had another rough week. 6-8. He's still winning. He had 2 rough weeks in a row, and he's still winning.
Yes. He was secretariat. He had some nice padding behind him. A couple furlongs.
So he is 70-46 against the spread. Jamie Eisenberg from CBS Sports, fantasy guy, by the way, went 12-2 against the spread. So he's 68-49. He's closing fast on this. Right now, with your record of 62-53, you are 9th among the experts. I am 21st, and Josh Katzwitz is 29th. So, I mean, I'm top 3rd, but I'm kind of stagnating. I was kind of hoping for a big week, and then, like I said, the Rams didn't help. I'm trying to think who else didn't help on Sunday. Hang on, I've got the picks right here.
Why don't you do a screen share? Bring them up.
I can do a screen share. Hold on, everybody. Screen share.
It's not easy to just call up. I hope that people understand. It's couple buttons, couple bells and whistles. We don't have a director like they do on Sunday night. Oh, how about the Monday Night Football graphics last night? They got some new toys to play with. Yeah. 3D graphics last night. Those were pretty neat.
You know what my favorite line from Monday night was?
Probably wasn't from Jason Witten.
It was from Booger.
There it is.
They were talking about Kelvin Benjamin, and he said he's a Popeye's biscuit away from being a tight end.
That is a good line. I didn't know that.
That's hardcore. All right, who didn't help me here? I got the Bucks. All right, I can't complain because I had the Bucks.
Yeah, that was Fitz magic, baby. We'll get to it. But man, we gotta have a chat about that.
Yeah,
they were up 18 with 2 minutes to go in the third. Bengals were.
It was pretty ridiculous. What I was thinking is, I'm going to stop the screen share right now. By the way, has any quarterback? I mean, maybe one has, but that one game, I'm trying to imagine how much money it cost Jameis Winston. Because coming into that game, he was a flawed quarterback, but he had had 2 solid games in a row to the point where you could go, all right, either the Bucs are going to sign him or someone else might sign him. And he's sort of a middle-of-the-road quarterback that you can live with. You can live with the turnovers because there's a lot of positives come with it. He can move the ball. They can score points, all that stuff. Now, he might get benched for the rest of the year if Fitz plays well.
Yeah.
And I mean, who's going to pay $100 million to a quarterback who's been benched for half a season? And I know everyone knows what he is and that game doesn't change what he is, but it just seems to me that if he doesn't play, the market value on him is just going to drop through the floor.
Yeah, it's really interesting, too. And I know they're different styles of quarterback, but when Brett Favre is this gunslinger making mistakes all over the place, and his history and total body of work is much different than what we've seen in a bridged approach with Jameis, especially if you also consider the off-field issues. But when you take these is it quality of interception was less concerning with Brett than it is with Jameis? Because I mean, they both were flawed in different ways, and yet Jameis gets the bench. And I know Fitz started the season, but it's still the top-ranked offense. It didn't regress as far as total yards go. Plus, they're averaging 28 points per game. Plus, it's always the offense needing to bail the defense out. Is this completely fair to Jameis? Maybe not, but Fitzpatrick could go out there and have 2 great weeks, and then we could see what happened last time, where there's just, as the saying goes, if you're rolling with 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one, and that's what the Buccaneers face right now. I don't think Jameis's story is over with in Tampa, because if things continue to go the way they are, you can fire every defensive coordinator in the world. Dirk's not going to be around very long, and then I think Jameis gets another chance when Dirk is forced out.
Yeah, and if you're a bad team, look at the Giants, who I talk about too much.
Sure.
But Giants fans and the media are screaming that they need to let their rookie play. Kyle Oletta, 4th round from Richmond. Okay. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen there, but
go Spiders.
But basically the argument is if your team's bad, you might as well let the young guy play to see what you have if the older quarterback's not part of your future. Well, Fitz is not their future. But you know what Jameis is. It's not like you need to get a look at him. But if you're 3-8, why play Fitz?
Right. That's what I was very surprised that they're going with Fitz this week. I'll be completely honest. Not that
I'm not.
reason to live. You really thought that with two interceptions per game and 10-4, it was time to go back to Fitz?
After what happened in that game on Sunday,
Yeah.
like, how do you look at your team and tell them you're going back to Jameis? You know what I mean?
Oh, because they made the decision to go with Fitz late in the third, and then they rallied back.
They totally rallied, and basically the decision was completely validated, and it made you go, "Hey, this guy's going to help us win," and the other guy was just giving the ball away.
Yeah, and if we go back to the Steelers game, Fitz almost rallied him back in that game. For as bad as he played in that Steelers game, he almost rallied him back there. So again, guy of 9 lives is Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he went to Yale, which is incredible.
No, Harvard.
No, Yale.
Get it right.
Are you sure?
Get it right.
Are you sure?
I know you're messing with him. I know. All right, folks. Otherwise, let's see. The biggest winners against the spread in week 2. The 2 CBS fantasy guys, Jamie Eisenberg and Dave Richard, both went 12-2. So good job out of them.
Yeah, go fantasy.
Straight up, let's see. I actually have the straight up wrong here on my notes. See, I did pre-show notes, but I got them wrong, which is really not the point of doing pre-show notes.
More coffee.
I know. So bad. I mean, I've been up for 3 hours or 4 hours. You'd think it would. So straight up, man, Dave Richard went 14-0.
That's a good week.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah. Miami Dolphins are nervous.
So yeah, he is 85-34 straight up. So that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
I am in 9th place at 81-38. You were in 50th. Josh is in 53rd. So you're way better against the spread than you are straight up.
I'm 5 games behind you straight up. Yeah. I can flip 5 games with half the season to go.
I know. You definitely can. You can flip 5 games in a week, to be honest.
Yeah, that's really true. We just need some more, I don't know, tighter games. I think straight up, there's been a lot of, that makes sense. And not enough. But again, where's the parity in the league?
All right. But we only have 13 games this week, so there's less to make up. So before we get going on the games, I'm on Twitter at Halpin37. He is at Freelance Fowler. You can also reach the main account at Pickwatch. On NFLPickwatch.com, you can make your own picks. You can track expert picks as the week goes along. Thursday into Friday is when most of the picks start coming in, so you can keep up there. But make your own. We got more than 1,400 people making picks right now. Ryan and I do this show on Tuesdays. Josh and I record early on Thursdays, taking a better look at picks. We might switch to Friday soon, so keep an eye on that. We'll let you know if we do. And also I do Sunday. I do a Facebook Live at about 11:45 Eastern on Sunday, going over the inactives and those kinds of things. Also, new thing this week on Pickwatch, if you want user profiles, you want to see how people do, you can say, click on my name. I'm going to do the screen share again. All right. So Ryan, if I click on my own name here, then what will come up, look, my lifetime record, my 2018 record. This is all right now. This is straight up. I'm on the straight up section. My 2017, but basically my record by year.
That's awesome.
You do this against the spread. So it's a lot of cool stuff for every one of the experts that we track.
And if gamblers and fantasy nerds know anything, it's all about sample size. So when you're maximizing out season, you have a better sense of, are they lucky this year, or are they actually pretty consistent with their picks year after year?
But I'm going to see what other people are like. Man, it is like this. Look, so Social Seniors, by the way, who has the lead straight up at 68-48. Social Seniors one of our users. Look, there's Social Seniors record for 2018. Now, if you've played on Pickwatch or if you tracked your picks on Pickwatch for multiple years, your entire record will be there if you click on your own name.
That's very cool.
And look at and if you scroll down, here's his. I don't know if Social Seniors says male or female. Week 1, week 2, week 3, all the picks for the whole year.
Very neat.
So this is really cool. So
we call that the Cliff's Note version of Pickwatch.com.
Yep. So the development team at Pickwatch is doing a great job. Sean, everybody over there, way to go. So that's another feature. They're going to be rolling out more all the time. Track your picks, NFLPickwatch.com. All right, let's go to the Week 9 schedule. Bye week. We got 6 byes, Ryan. Cardinals, Bengals, Colts, Jags, Eagles, Giants.
I will miss none of those teams.
You'll miss none? Really? You know who I will miss the most?
Bengals, maybe.
The Colts.
Yeah.
They're getting better.
Yeah, man.
Their offensive line is playing well.
What's that about?
Out. You know what? As a Giants fan, I was on the Josh McDaniels bandwagon because I wanted a young, creative offensive coach, and I thought his second chance would be a good one. I think the Colts lucked out in getting Frank Reich.
I tend to agree.
that second choice is going to wind up being a good one. But yeah, their offense is playing well. Marlon Mack he's like a real live good running back. I mean, I think we thought he was talented, but he's a bell cow. We do fantasy, and you always look for the running back who's going to get the ball 20 times a game. You're like, oh, it's Marlon Mack. Go figure. So yeah, they're interesting. So I want to look forward to the second half of the season. I think they're going to do well. All right, let's go. Let's start. All right, let's start. Unfortunately, with the Thursday night game. Raiders at Niners, battle of the bad Bay Area teams. Early on, we've got Niners favored by 3, over-unders 47. I mean, picking this game is a discussion of who's worse. Mm-hmm. Who's worse?
I'm going to take a deep breath, and I'm going to say that the 49ers are worse right now. I think that it was a kind of like a depth chart breakdown going to Arizona last week and not really being able to push them around. I know it was a road trip, but I thought the 49ers, if their offense was anything, was going to be able to push that Cardinals defense around. They really didn't. Let them hang around, and then we saw what happened. The Raiders, they should have won that game against the Colts. Doug Martin fumble kind of changed everything around, and then the wheels fell off. So I think right now, even though for all their faults, because they get to stay right in their backyard, the Raiders have the edge in this game, even unless they're still licking their wounds from the Colts game, which I think would be silly, because if they're licking their wounds from that, they're licking their wounds from the whole season. I'm going to say the 49ers are slightly worse, but again, we're in a gray area there.
Yeah, we're in a real gray area. Games like this, I always tend to take the home team, but the point spread bakes that in. Right. So I don't know. The one thing in this game, by the way, yeah, the over-under, you try to look for trends. The Raiders have been under in 11 of their last 14 games, but the Niners have been over in 8 of their last 11, so no help there.
Right. And what does Mostert do? Mostert could just go out there for the 49ers and run wild, right? And then that kind of change. It's really hard. I was really trying to take something away from the 49ers in that Arizona game, because Arizona's defense has been pushed over, especially on the ground. And I really couldn't – there wasn't a takeaway there that says I can find some type of trend with Beathard there and the running game. I still think the 49ers defense is quite good, which could cause some problems for Carr. But I think that the Raiders offense, when it gets into a groove like it did against the Colts, it can make some noise. So, I think the 49ers are slightly worse than the Raiders.
All right. See, I was going to say the Raiders are slightly worse than the Niners. But now I don't know who I'm picking this game. It's Tuesday. This is one decision I'm not ready to make. But if you think the Raiders are slightly better,
right,
and the Raiders are getting points,
right,
you're going that way.
I'm leaning that way.
Most likely. Okay. Next up, Lions-Vikings. Vikings favored by, let's check the latest lines. I did this morning, but we will check the latest. Minnesota, 5.5. Minnesota favored by 5.5. Over under 50.5 or 51. We're looking at. Lions are 3-0 against the spread on the road. There's something. Mm-hmm. I thought the Lions had turned a corner.
Yeah.
And then Sunday was just not. But we're going to talk about their opponent later.
Yeah. But
the Lions are. I think when the season started, I mean, there's things to like about them. They're running the ball better generally.
Yeah.
They added Harrison. At the beginning of the season, when they went 0-2, I looked at the Lions and said, they're not this bad, but they're not that good. They're kind of in the great middle. They seem to me like a 7-9 kind of team. So, and don't expect too much. Don't think even if they lose this game, don't think they're going to go in the tank. They're just kind of blah. And the Vikings are probably not, even though they lost. Like, the Saints are really good. I don't want to ding the Vikings too bad for that game. What I want to ask you is, did you think that loss to the Saints was bad or fluky for the Vikings?
Fluky, because if you go back to the Thielen fumble, they're driving in. They're either going to get 3 or 7. It felt like they were going to get 7 before that Thielen fumble. Everything was tilting the direction that the Vikings were going to win and cover that game against the Saints. So I thought it was a little fluky, because after that fumble, it almost felt like the Vikings quit. Like, they were a completely different team in that second half. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's Uncle Momentum. What is it? But something completely changed, because all the momentum was going the Vikings' way. Thielen, of all people, fumble, because the guy still had a good game, 102 yards receiving. And there's still so many things going right for the Vikings. Despite that, I still feel pretty confident that the Vikings are a quality team and getting better because, again, even the pick that Cousins threw, it was just a miscommunication between Diggs stopping his route, running through it, catching the ball, and running out to the sideline. Like those type of things, I don't put it on Cousins. Diggs stopped his route. They just miscommunicated. So that was another big swing in the game that I think is a little fluky. I still think the Vikings are trending in the right direction despite what happened with the Saints. As far as the Lions go, they fell behind early, so they kind of had to abandon what they had been doing so well with Kerryon Johnson. I still think you stretch that game out a few more minutes, Lions might have been able to come back. Seahawks played really well in that game. That's one of those games where I picked the Lions last week, and even after what happened, I would still feel pretty confident going with that Lions pick against the Seahawks. It's not like something that I completely regret. I regret a lot of picks where I'm like, oh, yeah, I should have seen that coming. But in that sense, I thought that the Lions were in the right direction. That being said, as far as 5.5 goes, I think the Lions can cover the 5.5, though it will be a great game.
Yeah, that's a close one. 5.5 is kind of that. It's in that weird spot that I'm not sure which way to go. I will probably go Vikings in this game.
Yeah, it's baiting Lions backers to take it.
Yep, and hopefully for the Vikings, they get healthier on defense.
Yeah.
That Barr comes back. Who's his safety? Sendejo comes back.
Sendejo, who's a quality man. If you watch a lot of Vikings defensive big plays, it's usually Sendejo on it. Plus, it's a fun name to say.
Sendejo. All right, Chiefs and your Browns. We're at Cleveland under the Greg Williams regime. Hopefully Patrick Mahomes won't have a bounty on him when the game starts.
You couldn't help yourself.
It's sitting right there for me. Yeah. I had to do it, right?
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, come on. Yeah. So 51.5 is the over-under. So the Browns, struggling on offense. The Chiefs, obviously not. So when you look at this game from the Browns side of things, and I beat you up about being pessimistic with them, which
especially with the Steelers game too. You were like outright. Yeah, there's no way they were going to win that game.
I get why you're pessimistic. Like it's hard not to be.
It's funny when people come around to that.
Yeah, but when you look at what happened to them yesterday, firing the coach, basically they fired the head coach in the morning, as you referenced this earlier, and then people thought, oh well, Haley's going to get more power. Well, then Haley gets kicked out too. So now the quarterback's coach is calling plays and all that. Do you look at this situation in that sometimes teams rally around their circumstances and sometimes they roll over because it's chaos? What do you think, if you had to pick a direction for the Browns this week, what would it be?
Well, there's a lot of new players on that team and younger players who probably have a lot of pride still, whereas if you were a veteran team, maybe you would just say, you know what? This is just not worth it. I put a lot of years in and I just whatever. I mean, you can make a case for both sides of that, but I think that there's a lot of young players in there that still want to make a name for themselves. Some of them still need to earn that second contract, which is probably a bigger thing, so they're not going to lay down for that. Jarvis Landry strikes me as the type of person that would really want to rally the troops based on some of his speeches during the Hard Knocks where you actually get to know these guys. But with that said, I don't know how the Browns offense, even though they're facing the Chiefs defense, keeps pace with what Patrick Mahomes is doing. The defense of the Browns is good, not great. They can't stop James Conner to save their life. How are they going to stop Kareem Hunt? How are they going to stop when Tyreek Hill goes down with the groin, Sammy Watkins and Travis Kelce? I mean, the Chiefs just have so many weapons. I think the Browns can contain them in spots and they can get a pass rush on Mahomes. There's just too many weapons that's just going to allow the Chiefs to rack up points. Where I think the key for the Browns is run Nick Chubb 25 times, Duke Johnson 8 to 10, get him involved, and just control that clock and milk it to keep it within 8. Otherwise, I think it's blowout city.
Free Duke Johnson finally from the clutches of Hugh Jackson.
Yeah, and Duke got dinged in that game with the Steelers, and he had to leave. He came back. But Duke did leave that game for a little bit. So this is where I'm like, did we really need to move Hyde? We move Hyde for a 5th-round pick. I know it was crowded, but can you really have that much running back depth when you need to be able to run the ball and control the clock? Because Rashard Higgins, your wide receiver 2 on the team, is hurt. There's just a lot of things, again, going wrong for the Browns at the wrong time.
Right. And when I said earlier, rollover, that was strong. That's not about – I don't think the players would quit. I think that sometimes chaos seems to overwhelm teams in certain situations. That's all.
Yeah. And again, there is a different variable in this case, as there are often different variables year to year with Cleveland. Dorsey is the GM. He's got a plan. I don't know how many other people have had a plan. As long as ownership, because ownership has kind of dipped their nose in a lot of these decisions over the years. If they let Dorsey kind of run this ship moving forward, I have a feeling they're gonna. If 7 wins is an improvement, so be it. And it's probably not going to be this year, but it seems to be trending in the right direction. It's just a matter of getting the right guy there to grow Baker Mayfield into an NFL caliber quarterback, and you got to give him some weapons. We can go over Josh Gordon at a later time, but I still think moving him out, as much of a headache as he was, you give him 15 chances, and then all of a sudden you're like, we're going to keep Antonio Callaway, who made a boneheaded decision during Hard Knocks that we learned about, but yet we're going to let Gordon go. So that has limited Baker Mayfield. Jarvis Landry is running 7-yard outs, and their average yards per attempt is like 4. You can't move the ball down the field unless Nick Chubb breaks a long one. And you can't ask that every time. So it just seems like Baker's kind of behind the 8 ball now offensively, and that's going to not lead to a lot of exciting plays the rest of the season.
All right. I would like to lay money on Dave Toub, the chief special teams coach, becoming the next head coach of the Browns at some point.
I got to write that down.
That's my money.
What's the last name?
Toub, Dave Toub. He's been in the running for some jobs. He's connected to Dorsey like that. Everybody's yelling about Lincoln Riley, which I get. Like logically it makes sense with Baker, but I wonder if Dorsey goes back. And I don't know John Dorsey, so that's just me speculating. But I bet he goes that way. I bet they try to mimic the Chiefs, which would be a good team to mimic right now.
Right.
So,
yeah, they need something. They need something.
Also, Browns 3-1 against the spread at home. By the way, they played well at home.
If Chubb runs well, they'll cover the 8. But he's got to have and I know it's his first year, but he has to have a incredible game.
Yeah, I'm not going to be afraid of the Browns, despite the Chiefs' offensive dominance this season. I'm not going to run, say no way I can take them. I'm not there. I might take the Browns to cover. I'm not sure yet. But let's see. Okay, Steelers Ravens. Ravens. It's at Baltimore. Ravens favored by 3. Over/unders 47. These two teams played in Week 4. Pittsburgh. The Ravens surprisingly dominated that game. I think we all thought it would be kind of a close game, and it was at Pittsburgh, and the Ravens kind of kicked their ass, really. Mm-hmm. The Steelers have won 3 straight since. This kind of strikes me as a spot I think it could be a good game, but I think the way the Ravens got beaten on Sunday puts them in a spot to kind of rebound with a strong effort.
Completely agree. I think the way that Saints game ended, Justin Tucker missing the first extra point of his career 2 weeks ago, and then just getting annihilated by the Panthers. They're going to come home. They're going to take care of business. To be honest, I really think at this juncture of the season, that defense, which was just so dominant, was like, you know what? We're going to take a few weeks. We're going to take a personal day and maybe dial it back, because for that defense to fall off a cliff like they did at Carolina, it doesn't make good sense when you look at the statistical makeup of the team. So I think knowing what they know about the Steelers, and they kind of have a blueprint of what the Steelers are going to do. Plus, the Steelers did what they did against the Browns. They're still not, aside from Connor, who has just been a breath of fresh air. I just love what he's doing, because he knows Le'Veon Bell's breathing down his neck. He doesn't care. He's going out there right. But aside from Connor, I'm still not overly impressed with the Steelers. I think that they're kind of just in this, like, we're going to win the division. We're going to go to the playoffs. And aside from Connor, there's really no sense of urgency there. You can beat up on the Browns all day. Terrific. I think they're going to go to Baltimore, and they're going to lose this game by 6-7 points, because I think that the Ravens have proven a few times this year that their offense is better than what a lot of people anticipated. They get creative with some of the packages they put out there with Lamar and everything. And I think the Steelers, they're not going to go in there thinking that they're going to win, because they know what happened on their home turf. But I think that the Ravens, after the Saints, Panthers, back-to-back NFC South nightmares, they're going to make a statement that they're not going anywhere yet.
I think I agree with you. Did you see? I don't know if you saw that game Sunday. First of all, it's just funny to me that when they put Lamar Jackson behind, they send him out there and they break the huddle. He's in the shotgun. That Flacco's always on the field, lined up as a wide receiver, and he just stands there.
Yeah.
Like, I get it's a personnel thing.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, so they did this great play with Jackson. They had one of the receivers come on sort of a fake, like a jet sweep, and he faked it. And then Jackson rolled out, and everybody keyed on him. And one of the receivers was, sort of on the sideline, 12 yards upfield, and Jackson basically threw it halfway into the ground. It was like it was the perfect play call, and exactly why you have him. And he just threw this ball. You're like, oh my God, that was one of the worst throws
I didn't see that.
It was terrible. So yeah, it was weird. Like, oh, that's why they have the guy. And the offensive coordinator must be over there going, damn it. Like, I had this one. It was right there. We did it. We did everything right except for the throw. All right. But yeah, I think I'm going to go Ravens here. Bucks, Panthers. Speaking of the Panthers. Panthers favored by 6.5. Over under 54. Fitz starts for the Bucks, as we said. The Bucks still suffering injuries. They lost Quan Alexander last week before the Bengals game. They were again without Gerald McCoy and Vinny Curry. We're not sure what their status is. Their defense is just a mess. It's a mess. And it doesn't look like it's getting better. I don't know what the status of those two guys is for this week with two linemen, but we're going to have to wait and see. The Panthers have sort of not abandoned. They run a little less.
Yeah.
Again, we talk fantasy, and Christian McCaffrey owners have been frustrated, but the last 3 weeks they've faced three really good run defenses, and now they're not.
Right.
I think you're going to see more Christian McCaffrey this week for them. Panthers so far 4-0 at home. They've been really strong there. I mean, I know they had that late bailout against the Giants with making the 63-yard field goal. Interesting note here. Because of the Bucks, good offense, bad defense. Bucks have been over 7 of their last 8 games. Panthers over in 4 of their last 6. But the Panther games have all been in the low 40s. They've been among the lowest on the slate every week. Anyway, that's me rambling. Do the Bucks bounce back here? I mean, are they in chaos? And are the Panthers starting to roll, which I think they might be? I mean, they're not perfect. But they're starting to the ball's starting to roll with that team. Cam's starting to play better. North Turner was a great fit for them. Like, I'm starting to like what I see more and more with them.
Yeah, a couple things. I'm going to take the over off the jump. I think this one does push the high 50s, if not low 60s, because I don't think – I mean, obviously the Buccaneers can't stop anybody, and I think at times, just based on the need to come back and some of that quote-unquote garbage time fourth quarter magic, there's going to be some points accumulated there in the fourth quarter. With that said – I think giving 6.5, and I saw 7 a lot on Monday, so I'm going to go 7, 6.5, 7, what have you. There is the hook. I think giving that many points to Fitzpatrick in his second act of this year is a bad idea. Now, he could completely fall on his face, and I get that. I think that's a lot of points to give a guy that is really kind of playing on the twilight of his career, and he's got enough offensive weapons that he can cover that, right? Like, I feel like the Panthers defense isn't so great that I don't think the Buccaneers have a chance to win, but I do think that there is a way that Fitz, like he did in that Steelers game, where maybe they fall behind. They're going to creep back, and again, the Bengals, they're going to creep back and stay close and keep that thing within 7. And that's where I think you have to be kind of careful to say, okay, I know the Buccaneers are completely in chaos right now, but Fitzpatrick plays with a lot of pride, and he takes some chances, and he has receivers to take a chance with. I mean, the Panthers, talking about fantasy, have a lot of fantasy points and yardage and all that good stuff to opposing tight ends. And the Buccaneers have 2 great tight ends in O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate. So there's a matchup that you might want to watch in that for when they're trying to march down the field, is that the Panthers have struggled covering the tight end. Long-winded answer. I think Fitzpatrick covers that 6.5.
All right, yeah, the Bucks 4 losses. At home by 3 to the Steelers. They got blown out by the Bears in that Fitz-Winston game. They lost by 5 at the Falcons, and they were down near the goal line at the end. And they lost by 3 to the Bengals after being tied. So for as bad as they've been on defense, they've had some close games.
Yeah.
So
and the one other thing with going back to the Steelers game and the Buccaneers schedule, had Fitz not rallied the Buccaneers against the Bengals when the spread was Bengals giving 3.5 and the Buccaneers only lost by 3, they would have went to 0 for 5 in their last 5 games against the spread. With Fitz coming back in there and rallying the troops, they're 1-4 against the spread again in their last 5 games. So it's trending the wrong way. But when you look at Fitz involved in the game, they're 3-1 against the spread.
Got it. All right. That's it for that game. Next up, Jets-Dolphins. It's at Miami. Dolphins favored by 3. Over-under 45. These two teams played in week 2. The Dolphins beat the Jets. They were shutting them out for a while. The score is 20-12, but the Jets scored on the last play. to make it look closer. Miami, let's see, they're 3-1 against the spread and straight up at home. Jets are 1-3 straight up against the spread on the road. Ryan Tannehill, it sounds like he's not ready. They think he's going to practice Wednesday, but Gase basically was saying things on Monday like, well, he's starting to throw and we're working through that shoulder. And you're like, yeah, that guy's not playing in week 9.
He has an arm.
So Brocktober gets an extended engagement into November. What do we think of this one?
One thing that I found very interesting about the Jets' last 2 games is Isaiah Crowell is garbage. And granted, he had to play 2 good defenses in the Vikings and the Bears, but the Bears didn't have Khalil Mack and Allen Robinson, and the Jets couldn't find a way to cover the 7. So what are the Jets right now? Without Bilal Powell, who's poor guy, I really wanted Bilal Powell to have a nice career. Now he's got a really scary neck injury that might cost him. Quincy Enunwa hurt. Robbie Anderson missed last week. We'll see if he's ready for this week. So now there's these talk of Elijah McGuire coming off of temporary injured reserve. And Elijah McGuire in spots has looked like, okay, maybe a complimentary back to Isaiah Crowell. But Crowell is going to be Crowell and McGuire are going to be the key to the Jets having a chance to cover in this game because the Dolphins are dead last against the rush. So we'll know the state of the Jets rushing attack by the end of this game because the Dolphins can't stop the rush. In that breath, I don't think that the Jets are trending in the right direction. I think this is a tough trip. Nobody likes going to Miami. It's going to be hot and muggy. I looked at the temperature, 82, 75% humidity. And what happens is road teams start to suffer in those second half under those conditions, whereas the Dolphins are so used to it and they're coming off the bye. I like the Dolphins to win this game. Or not the bye, I'm sorry, 10 days between games. It's just that Thursday night game throws me.
See, weird because the Dolphins are down a couple of receivers too.
Yeah, but I like that Kenyon Drake, Frank Gore committee, and I think that's something that they lean on. Plus, their pass defense isn't too bad. So it's just a matter of the Dolphins stopping Isaiah Crowell and Elijah McGuire, who hasn't played all season, and I think that's not the tallest task in the world.
Yes. So you've got Kenny Stills. Doesn't sound like Kenny Stills is going to play again for them.
Yeah.
I think the Jets getting Tremaine Johnson back at corner will help. And it's set. He's TBD, but I think they were hoping he'd be back this week. I don't know. Yeah,
this game
Darnold
stinks,
is. I like Darnold, but it's funny. I don't know how much of the game you watched last night. I know you said you went to bed early, but they were showing a graphic about how, look at these bad stats for the rookie quarterbacks. I'm like, well, yeah, they're rookie quarterbacks. It happens.
Yeah, right.
Darnold's got 10 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Look what he has around
like
him. Yeah. Oh, no. This isn't the Jets' issues on offense. I don't think it's not a Sam Darnold problem. It's a personnel problem. I mean, when you lose Enunwa, Powell, and when Robbie Anderson's inactive, your top target is Jermaine Kearse. God bless him. He's old Jermaine Kearse now. He's not a spring chicken, and that's just not going to allow you to do a lot of things, especially when Isaiah Crowell is averaging 2.6 yards per rush, and everybody knows that you're going to pass. I just, again, no Khalil Mack, no Allen Robinson, and the Jets struggled to cover 7 at Chicago. I thought that because I think you were leaning Jets this time last week. I don't know what you ended up picking.
No, I picked Bears. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but you were interested in the Jets just because it was so many points at the time. So, again, I thought that if that was a good measuring stick because without their top pass rusher, the Bears were still able to bottle up a Jets offense that just doesn't have a lot of depth.
All right. By the way, I keep checking Twitter to see if Le'Veon Bell reported. We got nothing.
James Conner's going to live there forever.
How bad am I? Do you know the MFL fantasy leagues?
I do.
Yes. I have one with a handful of friends. Were you in it one year?
I was 1 year.
Yeah.
Best ball.
I am in 10th place, and I drafted James Conner in the 20th round. Like, how bad did I have to be in the rest of my draft?
Did you draft Kenny Britt?
I did not draft Kenny Britt. Thank you very much for that. But no, I did not.
I don't know. Who's your quarterback?
I punted. Well, actually, I think it's Mariota. I waited on quarterback. So it's Mariota, Trubisky. Did I have Jameis in there? I don't think I had Jameis in that one. I did a lot of Jameis this year. And the last 2 weeks, I was feeling really smart.
Yeah.
And now I'm not feeling so smart on the Jameis thing. I thought basically I stashed him for the first 5 weeks. I'm like, score. I did it. The patience was worth it. And now I'm going, oh, crap. I need
Oh, no.
I need Matthew Stafford to start throwing more right away.
Yeah.
Okay, enough of my fantasy teams. No one ever cares. I always tell my kids, no one cares about your own fantasy team except you. So
very true.
All right, Falcons, Redskins. Redskins favored by 1.5. The surprising Redskins 5-2. Over under 47.5. Falcons expecting Deion Jones back. They got Grady Jarrett back. This is a trap for the Redskins. I don't know about trap because it would lead you, because I don't know if the Redskins are going into this thinking, hey, we're playing this bad team. I think the Falcons have some fight in them here. Okay. And I think with their defensive players starting to come back, I mean, they're not all coming back. The safeties are, they're done.
Right.
But this, I think the Falcons are going to have a solid second half.
I was waiting for your apology to Adrian Peterson for all the scandalous things you said about him.
So dead wrong I was about him. And I know he got a lot of those yards on the last play.
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
But no, I was like,
amazing, right?
He's done. Why are they worried? Why are they bothering with this guy? He's 33 years old. He's
freak of nature, man.
Long.
Complete freak of nature. And it's so crazy. When he ran that last play down the right sideline, he still does that head bob he did as a rookie. That was one thing I always thought. I'm like, man, when that dude breaks in the open field, his running style is scary because it reminds me of old school running backs in the NFL. That's neither here nor there. But I feel you on this one. I think when you're giving 1.5 to a Falcons, that offense of the Falcons, and I know the Redskins defense is delicious. Don't get me wrong.
I wouldn't use that word, by the way.
You think
sponsored that word?
Yeah, trademark. I know we want some counter argument here, but I'm feeling this because if we go back earlier this season, the Colts, who have a pretty good offense, went into Washington, and it was soggy that day, and beat the Redskins. The Redskins, they're not a perfect team by any means, and I think that I'm feeling you on the Falcons here. I know it's not, we're going to join the Mensa as the group of brilliant minds here, because the Falcons, for all their flaws on defense, are still a good team, and the Redskins are not a good team on a consistent basis, based with what they have, right? I mean, I like the Falcons in this spot. The over-under, I think that over could hit. I know it's kind of
47,
weird. Yeah. I think that over could hit. But, yeah, let's see if Julio Jones can fall in the end zone finally this week.
All right. And the spread, I mean, the Vegas likes the Falcons here. Not likes them to win and cover, but only getting 1.5 on the road. No, they're not writing off the Falcons. Let's put it that way.
No, and I think that this isn't it's just that nobody believes in Washington. This is like, This is a testament to Washington just being, oh God, how do they keep doing this? And they're probably sitting back like, how is Adrian Peterson allowing them to continue to move forward offensively? The defense is a different story. Their rush defense, pretty good. It's just, I don't trust Josh Norman to be consistent week to week. Sometimes their secondary has flaws, aka against the Saints. What are the Saints' passing game like? Atlanta. That's where I kind of come.
Some people would say Alex Smith just wins games.
But yeah, he's a manager. He's a manager.
All right, so my sunlight is getting a little strong here.
No, you're good. Oh no!
Burning.
You went away for a second. Yeah,
my shoulder is going to burn before the end of the show.
Yeah. Well.
Whatever. All right. Bears, Bills. We don't have a line yet on Bears, Bills. Let me check one more time.
Bears.
I don't think we have a line yet. Let me see.
Man, that Bills defense was good. Whew.
Yeah, they were good.
They were hitting hard, and it was cold last night. That probably did not feel great.
I got no line anywhere that I can see for Bears, Bills. So we might have to table this discussion. Hopefully for the Bears, they get Khalil
What if it was a pick 'em? What if it was a pick 'em?
Oh, I'd take the Bears.
Okay, just curious. Because that Bills defense was pretty.
I think Sean McDermott's a good coach.
That could be. I might take the under, whatever the over/under is. I don't think there are going to be a lot of points in that game.
It'll be low. Yeah. That's why Mitch Trubisky, fantasy Mitch Trubisky, not this week. No, thank you.
No. Buccaneers, yes.
Yeah.
Bills, no.
All right, let's skip at that. Well, let's guess at the line. I think it's going to be Bears -3.
Yeah, that's probably right. Because Derek Anderson's awful, and they can't go to Nathan Peterman.
All right, late games. Texans at Broncos. Broncos favored by 2.5. Is that right?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Mile high. The mile high advantage.
Broncos favored by 2.5 or 3, depending on where you look. I'm seeing the over-under 46.5. Houston's won 5 straight. They started slow. People thought they were going to go in the tank and Bill O'Brien was going to get fired, and now they won 5 straight. The defense is playing awesome. Would the Will Fuller injury hurts their offense? That's a killer.
Just as depressed. I was depressed about the game because if you saw what happened to his knee, you're like, yeah, he's done. It
Like
like
how-
literally got caught underneath and then buckled. But it's crazy when people pop their ACL. I'd be like writhing in pain. These guys are like, I probably popped my ACL and then they limp off. I'm just such a baby though. So yeah, I thought Will Fuller and Deshaun Watson, one of the more underrated tandems for as good as Hopkins is, and he makes crazy catches on a weekly basis now.
Yeah.
Will Fuller, Kiki could, what is it?
QT.
Kuti is not Will Fuller. I know Kuti
No.
had 15 targets in like back-to-back games, but he's not. Will Fuller and Watson just work. And it might be a Kenny Stills approved 2 receptions for 78 yards and a touchdown, but it always worked, and he was that deep threat, and now that's gone, and it bums me out. I really think that's something that's going to be appreciated moving forward as if the offense flounders a little bit. But Lamar Miller has run out of his mind this year, and I'm pumped to see that too.
All right. There was a report over the weekend that Deshaun Jackson was asking the Bucs for a trade. If that's the case and they're going to trade him, trading him to Houston would make too much sense today.
Yeah.
And if you're not watching this live, everybody, we're recording it, a little before 10 right now on Eastern on Tuesday. So the trade deadline's today for the NFL. So yeah, Deshaun Jackson would just be such a perfect fit for them at this point. All right.
I mean, that mile-high advantage always makes me a little nervous. But isn't it funny? I mean, Philip Lindsay, by the way, let's talk about the Broncos rush game because that is delicious. It's just fun to watch because of how – and Lindsay might have a 3-year career because of it, but Lindsay is just blasting through lines. And, again, the Texans' rush defense is great. That's going to be a fun one-on-one matchup between the defensive front of the Texans and what Lindsay can do, because that might be the difference in this game. I know Emmanuel Sanders makes a play on a regular basis for Case Keenum and bails him out of a lot. With the 2.5, I could see a McManus field goal. Well, not McManus. McManus, yeah. Right? I lose track of Denver kickers too much.
Jason Elam.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was Jason Elam last week, wasn't it? But I like the Broncos kick a late field goal, cover this at home. I think this is where it might not just be Fuller, it just might be a multitude of things, but they come down to earth a little bit playing at elevation.
All right. These two teams have both have the numbers in front of them. They've had a recent penchant for under, both of them. So keep that in mind.
I can see under on the 46.5.
Chargers Seahawks. This is the unsung game of the week here, by the way. Seahawks at home favored by 1.5 over the Chargers. Chargers coming off the bye. So the Chargers are 5-2. They've only lost to the Rams and the Chiefs. No shame in that. They do not think, they haven't ruled Joey Bosa out yet, but it doesn't sound like he's going to be back. Melvin Gordon, they're waffling on. I think he's going to be back, but remember, it's Tuesday, so we're not sure. The Seahawks, they're better than I thought. And what I was saying early in the year, people were looking, the Seahawks have a good defense. And I kept going, you know what? All those defensive players are gone. It's not the same defense. Correct. That was correct. The guys they replaced them with, playing really well. This is one of the top 5 or 6 defenses in the league. The Chargers, really good team. I think a Super Bowl contender. I mean, this is a really, really good game.
And I think this is one of those games, playing at Seattle's no picnic. Chargers are coming off the bye, which is interesting. But, man, this is one of those games where Philip Rivers is just going to melt down. I can see it in that third, fourth quarter where the noise of the 12th man in Seattle and this is where Philip Rivers makes 3 mistakes and it costs him the game. There's going to be some interceptions, some bad choices made by Philip Rivers, and that's when because Philip has played great this year, very, very consistent, not a lot of mistakes. Man, I hate to go with the Seahawks because I really think they're regressing, but I know what happened in Detroit. I know they're not, and you know what? Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett is probably one of the more undervalued tandems in the league too. They make plays, and the rotating tight end options for the Seahawks have worked. I mean, especially in the red zone, you kind of play. Oh, what's that guy's name? Did they just get him off the practice squad? Did they get him off the golf course like Derek Anderson? Because they're filling in spots here and there. But that Tyler Lockett, Russell Wilson is definitely one of my favorites. I think that the Seahawks cover this game at home.
Yep, and the Seahawks, they're 5th in the league in rushing yards, and they're 5th in the league in total defense. And remember, one key thing about the Seahawks here, they're 4-3. They've only played 2 games at home so far. So they could start rolling here. Wilson's playing very well. But I do think this is going to be a game where you learn a lot about the team. I mean, if it's a close game, I don't know how much you learn necessarily, but if the Chargers win this one, if I'm not fully on board already,
Right.
then I will be.
And again, with a 1.5 point spread, Chargers have had kicking issues. Seahawks have Seabass right now, and I think he's been actually pretty good compared to most of the kickers around the league. But, man, you look at week 8 and still kicking issues linger, and it changes point spread so often. And when you're looking at a 1.5 point spread and Seabass coming down with 3 seconds left on the clock to either push them up by 2.5 or 2 or 3, that's what's going to be very interesting late in this game, because I just have a feeling Phillip is due to make some boneheaded mistakes, because the Chargers charging has happened this year.
Yes.
It just happened earlier this year, and I could see it happen. Sometimes those extra days off get you out of the rhythm that you've enjoyed so much.
Yeah, my early lean is Seahawks, but, we'll see how the week goes. All right, Rams Saints, another really good one.
60.
At New Orleans, Saints favored by 1. Over-under is 60.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll take the under.
I think I'll take the under, too, because the Saints' defense has been really good.
Yeah.
And the Rams' defense, the Rams got a cornerback issue.
They really do. Ooh, I watched a lot of that Packers game.
Yeah, that's a flaw on that team right there,
Yeah.
that they were hoping would be good, because you say, oh, Marcus Peters. Wow, they got Marcus Peters cheap. Yeah.
He has not looked good.
No, he has not. If you want to go under here, we talked about that 6 of the Rams' last 9 have been under. 4 of the Saints' last 6 have been under. Do I have a light following me right there? Now I got reflection off.
No.
Where?
Oh, yeah, it's on your chin. You got to have like a light goatee.
Where is it? Where's it coming from?
Oh.
There it is. It's my computer. How about that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see the hourglass again. I thought the hourglass would be behind you.
the hourglass.
In case there it is.
The
In case you missed it last week. Anniversary gift.
Yes. All right. So the Rams, are you surprised, as good as the Saints are you surprised that the Rams are an underdog here?
I am. Absolutely. Todd Gurley cannot be stopped except for when he wants to host bettors. I mean, he cannot be stopped except when he stops himself. That's it. Like, again, this is kind of like the Chiefs. They're just, and it's an apt comparison, they just have a lot of weapons that they can go to, and it's just a consistency. You're really distracting me.
Where's the light? I'm so distracted by the light coming off.
I'm trying to make a very eloquent take, and
it's not that eloquent.
John is yeah, exactly. John is turned into a mime.
All right, anyway, go ahead.
No, it's just the Rams. They have so many weapons to go to, and I think as great as the Saints defense has played as of late, it's hard to stop all of them, and that's where I think, again, the one is very true to what this matchup. I think the Saints cover, though. I mean, at home, I think this is a statement game for the Saints, and they have all the pieces that they need to go out there and win this game. And with a 1-point spread, I don't see 24-23, but I do see the Saints covering that one.
Yeah, I think the Saints win. I don't know. I probably gonna pick the Saints.
Wait, did you just pick the Saints and then like a second later just say you don't know if you're gonna pick the Saints?
No. I didn't pick this. Did I?
Oh.
I don't think I picked the Saints.
You're like, I like the Saints.
As we discussed. So
we're parsing, but it is early.
All right. Packers, Pats. Pats favored by 6.5. Over under 57.5. NBC really laying it on thick with the Michael Jordan narrating the ad on Sunday night, trying to figure out a lot of debate on who's the GOAT, and it's between these two. Peyton Manning must be looking at this going, what happened? Where did I go?
I see.
I haven't been gone that long. It's not like I'm, Otto Graham here.
He needed, if Peyton wore the number 12, he would have been okay for the comparison.
Anyway, quick story, since you're a Cleveland guy, Otto Graham. Because we were running long today. I was on a golf course about 5 years ago in down near Myrtle Beach, Pawleys Island. One of my favorite courses, Caledonia. And when we were on vacation every year down there, Heather would go with me, and she'd drive the cart and I'd play golf. And you meet up with people on golf courses, it's fun. So like, Mr. Graham, report to the tee, Mr. Graham. So this guy comes up, he goes, "Hi, Otto, nice to meet you." I'm like, what?
No way.
So I didn't
That's
ask
surreal.
right away.
Right.
Then about the third hole, I go, "All right, so relation?" He goes, "No, actually. I'm from Cleveland."
No, really.
No relation. He's a great guy. I'm like,
Right.
No relation? But it turns out he was born at the same time as Otto's son in the same hospital, but his family's name was Graham. They liked the name Otto. It was this whole whatever. He's a great guy, but it was just funny because when I heard it, he walked up and said Otto. I did a double take. Like, what? Really?
So wait, you got paired up with a random person to do the 18 holes?
To play golf. Oh yeah, that's what you're not a golfer.
No.
Yeah, they pair you if the foursome's not full. They,
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. That's
like,
awesome.
Oh, hey, you're gonna play. So you meet nice people on golf courses. Yeah, it's great.
Cool.
Highly recommend it. All right.
Patriots, Packers.
Patriots, Packers. Oh man, the sunlight is killing me. Next week we have to overhaul it. I have to move, I think.
You have to move
next week.
to a different house.
Yeah, I really do. All right. The Pack played well, obviously. They lost, and they're all mad at Ty Montgomery, and now he's mad at the world because people are threatening him on social media, and it's a whole big mess. A lot of travel for the Packers. They're going from LA late Sunday back home to Green Bay, then going to New England. Probably not too much of a factor. So far, a big factor here. Pack has been shaky. Until Sunday, they've been shaky.
That's what didn't make any sense. Like what I told, real quick, John, what I told myself when taking the Rams, laying 9, was this isn't the Packers team that is all out dominant. And then they went out and I'm like, that's not the Packers that I just watched for a month. They were it felt different. And I know things changed late, but it just didn't seem, I wasn't overconfident that this Packers team could keep pace with a team like the Rams. And then they went out and shut me up. Plus, Clay Matthews had one of his best games of the year and really put some pressure on Goff. So that really threw me because I thought I knew what the Packers were, and then they played at a different level in Los Angeles.
Right. Okay. Otherwise, in this game here, I mean, I don't think we learned anything about the Pats last night.
They do not get up for down games, man.
No, that was a tough spot, I thought. I mean, the Bills, they're playing for their life.
Yeah, so. and the Patriots running game is meh.
All right, one other factor in this game, another statistical quirk, overs. 10 of the last 13 for the Packers, over 4 of the last 7 for the Patriots because they went under last night. Finally, Titans-Cowboys Monday night. By the way, who's your Patriots-Packers? Sorry.
No, that's what I was going to say. I'll take the over. I think I'm going to fade that spread. I think it's baiting me to take the Patriots. And I'm going to take, with the 6.5, I'm going to take the over in that game.
All right. Finally, Titans-Cowboys. Cowboys favored by 6.5 at home. Over-under 41. Cowboys are 3-0 at home so far. Titans are 1-3 on the road. Both of these teams are they're kind of meh. Like, this is a game I don't want to, at 6.5, I don't want to touch. I'd probably go Titans with the spread. That's a big number. I think these teams are kind of comparable. I could see the Titans winning this game.
What do you think about Amari Cooper? He'll make his debut for the Cowboys.
Whatever. I mean, he's better than what they have.
Right.
The quarterback's still not that good.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, I'd probably lean Titans. But again, the Titans have been the bane of my existence this season, and I haven't been able to really figure up, down, left, right. I'd probably take the Cowboys. Because I mean, it is a lot of points.
Yeah.
But with the Cowboys being at home, man, Vegas went hard on the Titans. They went like 6.5. That's hard coming off the bye. Both are coming off the bye.
Because they just almost won a solid game on a neutral field.
I'm waffling now.
I'm going to go Titans against the spread. I'm pretty sure.
6.5 is a lot.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot to give the cow. It's a lot. Giving 6.5 with a team that kind of can't score.
Right.
It's a lot of points.
Right.
I mean, 13-10 is in play in this game.
1 second. Give me 1 second. Play some elevator music while I bring up something.
I can keep adjusting for my sunlight.
Yeah.
Distraction.
Do your mime act.
We're there. No. See, I have a glass top desk. That's the problem.
Man, you did not
tablecloth or something.
You did not plan for this season.
No, I really didn't.
Last 2 games at home for the Cowboys.
Yeah,
26 points against the Lions, and 40 points against the Jaguars, which that was kind of a weird situation. Yep. Their points per game at home is in the mid-20s, whereas their road offense has been atrocious. It's been under 20 on the road. So maybe that is something to look into, because I don't know if the Titans can get into the mid-teens sometimes. Like, is the Dallas defense good enough to keep the Titans under 14, 16 points in that game? Because that might be the difference between a cover and a not. The Cowboys defense just keeping them under 16 points.
All right.
Cowboys offense hasn't been bad at home.
You're right. So maybe me saying they can't score is unfair.
I mean, again, it's a split, and it's a very small sample size.
Yep. Okay. I think I'm leaning Titans against spread here.
All right, I'm leaning Cowboys.
And I'm leaning under 41 probably is not smart.
I would think over.
Yeah. All right.
Seems very low.
Okay. Anything else we missed? Anything else you want to cover?
No, the Cavs fired their coach the day before the Browns. That was interesting. 48 hours for Cleveland sports. Plus, I'm looking forward to the Indians trading their next Cy Young Award winner, Corey Kluber, in the offseason. Cleveland sports went downhill really quick.
LeBron left, and there went.
And all heck broke loose. But, hey, we got week 9 of the NFL. I'm in 9th place against the spread. Let's see if we can move up the rankings this week and have some fun. Because, man, the NFL, they have some issues here and there for different reasons. Still a fun product to watch on Sunday.
Totally entertaining this year. I agree. I'm with you. Yeah. All right. Let's wrap it. Everybody, again, on Twitter, he's at Freelance Fowler. I'm at Halpin37. You can also get us at Pickwatch. Remember to make your picks and track everybody else's picks at NFLPickwatch.com. It's a great resource. We got more than 1,400 people making their picks there every week. Be one of them. Track yours with everybody else's. And later in the week, we kind of talk about where to be contrarian and help win your pools and things like that. So go check it out. All right. That's it for today's. Oh, also, if you're watching this on Facebook, thank you. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. If you're not following us or liking us in either place, go do it. Because especially on Thursdays, we do the show. Josh and I discuss every game, and then we chop it up into individual game discussions. So if you just want to watch 4 minutes on Titans Cowboys, you can do that on our YouTube channel. So please subscribe there. We really appreciate that. That's it for today's edition of Pickwatch Live. I'll be back on Thursday morning with Josh Katzowitz right here. So please come on back then. For Ryan Fowler, I'm John Halpin. Thanks for watching.